Hi guys, it's Aoife from Fred We Say Dead Laughing, and I'm here with another weekly wrap up. So I read 3 books and 3 novellas this week, and yes, I'm really happy with the reading that I have done. The first book I finished this week was Rune by Gwynne. This is an epic fantasy series called The Faithful and the Fallen. It's the 3rd book in The Faithful and the Fallen, and you guys have probably heard me rave about this series before. I've put it in a few recommendation videos, and I just really love it. It's to do with this land called the Banished Lands, and there is a prophecy about the 2 different gods, Azeroth and Elyon, who are kind of like the devil and god, how they're going to be reborn in human avatars, and it's about the kind of search to see who their avatars are going to be, who is going to be fulfilling this prophecy, kind of civil war, all these kingdoms at war with each other, magic, giants, all of that, and it's really good. It's just so action packed all the time. Obviously I don't want to give too many spoilers away because this is the 3rd book in the series, but I really love this one. It was, as like the other 2, completely action packed, really, you know, I almost couldn't take a breath from start to finish because I was like so anxious all the time for all my favourite characters, because it was kind of like they were just in so many different circumstances where their lives are at risk. One of the best things about this series actually is the animals in it, because the animals play a huge part in kind of just the relationships with the characters, and then they do have different parts to play within like the war itself, and you really care for them, like you really do. They have their own personalities and you really grow to love them, so you do actually end up being afraid for all the animals as well, and when they do die you are really upset about it. And this happened with this book as well, where like I didn't expect to be so sad about a certain like animal dying, and then I was. So yeah, but that was, yeah, just kind of, I gave this one 4 stars instead of 5 because there is one female character called Gwynne, who's the main character's sister, and she's had a pretty interesting character arc throughout the whole series so far, but I just felt like her story became a little bit diminished in this one. She's a very strong person and she loves to learn to fight and to, you know, be a part of the battles, and for this one it's kind of like she took a step back and she started learning more kind of about healing and medicine and stuff like that. And while that's great, I just felt like it was almost like a bit of a turnaround for her, because she'd always been really into learning to sword fight and knife throwing and stuff like that before. So I just felt like her story itself became somewhat diminished, and there wasn't as many chapters, I should say, from her point of view this time around, and I really love her point of view, so I was a little bit disappointed with that. I think the length of this one got me a tiny bit as well. It was like 750 pages, so it was quite long, and it's quite a big book, like, so it got me a little bit. But yeah, the ending absolutely destroyed me. I couldn't deal with the ending. The last line was completely heartbreaking. Obviously I'm not going to tell you what it was, but it broke my heart, and I just need the next one. The last book in the series is coming out at the end of this year, I think, but it doesn't have like an actual date on it yet, and it doesn't have a cover or anything, but it has been finished. He has finished writing it, and it's expected to be published by the end of the year, I think, and I can't wait for it because I need to know what happens. Oh my god, 4 out of 5 stars, really good, really great epic fantasy series. Please pick it up if you're looking for a new fantasy series to read. The next book I read was Stay the Distance by Dabrishus. This is a book I got from NetGalley, so a big thank you to them and the publishers for that. This was a great horsey read. I love now and again just coming back and reading this lovely story to do with horses and people who love horses and all sorts of events around horsey things, and yeah, I just really love it, and this really hit that note for me. She is definitely going to be an author. I'm going to follow all her stories. As soon as I finish this, I bought her new book which came out in January, and I can't wait to read that one as well, because I just love these authors that just write these really great horsey stories, and Mara is definitely an author that does that. So this book is about a girl called July who works with her dad, who is a trainer in a horse racing stables, and basically July is dealing with some things. Her mother left the family 4 years ago to kind of go and fulfill her dream of becoming a jockey, but she's living on the other side of the world, or the other side of the country I should say, not the world, and she has had very little contact with July and her sisters since then. And then there are also some rumours about the stables becoming bankrupt over some different things in the news, and yeah, so July has to deal with all of this stuff, and she ends up, you know, becoming closer with the son of the owner. His name is Beck, and she's kind of known him for like a long time, and they start kind of becoming closer because he seems to know what's going on more than her. And this was just a really great horsey read. I gave it a 4.5 stars, and I just really loved it. I flew through it. I read it in like basically one sitting. If I'd started it like an hour earlier the day that I read it, I would have finished it in one sitting. But yeah, I think this story was really good in giving all the horses different personalities. You know, obviously Mara really knew her stuff when it came to horse racing. I'm not really, you know, knowledgeable about horse racing and all that kind of stuff, but it was really easy to follow along. I didn't get lost. It didn't fall into the tropes I see in some other horsey books where, you know, the owners are always these like rich snobby people. There's always like the child of the owner, or this rich kid who doesn't really love the horses, only does it for like the prestige of, you know, getting the medals and the trophies and stuff like that, and, you know, doesn't really love horses, doesn't really like care for their own horse. And this one, and like, you know, treats everyone else like crap basically, but this one didn't do that. The owners were genuinely good people who genuinely loved their horses, and then Beck obviously really liked July. His relationship with July grew and, you know, became a little bit romantic, and then his older brother had also had a relationship with July's older sister, so it shows that, you know, they weren't these snobby kids who, you know, thought everyone else was beneath them, which, you know, I see so much in other horsey books. So this one didn't have that, and it was just really refreshing. And then as well, July and Beck's relationship was great to read because there was no drama in it. It was like they had a relationship, they'd known each other for a long time, they had this really solid ground beneath them for their developing feelings, and then there was just no, like, there was none of like, oh, I saw him with a girl and he doesn't like me anymore, he's cheating on me or whatever like that. There was none of that, which, you know, you see quite a lot. So yeah, it was really nice that there was just no relationship drama, and it was just mostly to do with the horses, and I loved that. So yeah, I took out the 0.5 stars just because of the whole July's mom not contacting her. I just found that really strange, considering it wasn't like July was really young when the mom left. She was like 13 when her mom left, and her sister would have been about 15 or 16, I think, because she's a few years older than July. And I just felt it very strange that like there would be virtually no contact when they're in the same world. Like, they're both in the horse racing world, so they're obviously going to know where she was at different points, and the dad would know where she was because he's a horse trainer within the racing world, and she was a jockey. So it just felt a bit weird that there wouldn't be any contact. So yeah, I just kind of felt that was strange, and like, you're not really told whether there was or there wasn't contact for quite a long part of the book as well. So that kind of annoyed me, it kind of niggled me a bit, so I just took a 0.5 stars away because of that. After Stayed the Distance, I read two of the novellas that are attached to this. One of them is Whirlaway and the other one is Saratoga Summers. Whirlaway was really short. It was kind of a prequel to Stayed the Distance, and while it was good, I don't think it really deserved to be like a full novella. I think it could have been like attached to the end of Stay the Distance because it was so short. Yeah, so while it was grand, I gave it like 3.5 stars. You know, I don't think it was really necessary to pay like another like €1 or €2 for it to get it on my Kindle when it was only like literally a chapter long. It could have been just stuck at the end of Stay the Distance, but yeah. Saratoga Summers was much better. I gave it 4 stars, and it was a little bit longer, and it kind of had different summers in this kind of stables, or this kind of event they go to every summer. So there was like points where July was 13, 14, 15, one when her mom, before her mom went away, one when her mom went away. Yeah, I really enjoyed the progression of the ages and like the different summers in this one. It kind of explained a few things, got a few more emotions, got a few more kind of looks into Beck and July's relationship when they were younger, and a few different things that were mentioned in Stay the Distance. So I really enjoyed that, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is a novella I got from NetGalley, which was published by Tor.com, and it's Every Heart a Doorway. This is a book I've heard quite a lot about. It's a novella really. Rachel over Colin Noddy and Katie over Katie Loves to Read have raved about it, and I can really say that all the hype about this is so well deserved because this was such an amazing read. It is about a girl called Nancy who has come back from a magical world. She kind of found a portal into this world, and no one understands her anymore, and her parents send her to this school that is for children who have found themselves in magical worlds and ended up coming back. So children, you know, like Alice in Wonderland and the Pevensies in Narnia, it kind of caters for the children who have come back from these worlds and have to deal with being in the real world again, and it kind of helps them try and find their way back if that's what they want. Sorry, my dog is climbing on top of me. So yeah, it was really interesting, and then as soon as Nancy arrives at the school, other children start to show up with body parts missing. So there's like a mystery to this as well. It's like magical and mysterious at the same time, and I really loved it. And there's a few LGBT themes in it as well, because Nancy is asexual and she describes her asexuality really well. And you know, I have never experienced a character who is asexual before in books, and the way she described it really made me understand what it means to be asexual, I guess. So yeah, I really liked that. It was so kind of whimsical first, and then it became really dark, and it was just really great. It was just really interesting to read. I think I would have read another, if there was another 200 pages, I would have read it easily because it was really good. So I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. This book I read is Tell the Wind and Fire by Rees Brennan. This is also a NetGalley book, and it's actually coming out on sale on April 5th, which is Tuesday, I think. And I'm not going to say too much about this book because I have a video review which I will link below or above or somewhere. And all I can say is this is a YA kind of fantasy book about an alternate version of New York, when New York has been split into 2 different parts, a light section and a dark section for light magicians and dark magicians. And it is a retelling of a tale of 2 cities. So there's a girl called Lucy who was born in the dark section, but she's actually a light magician and she is living in the light part of the city now, and she's going out with a guy called Ethan, and then one night they are saved by a mysterious stranger who ends up being connected to Ethan in some way, and it kind of goes from there. So I won't say too much about it because I do have kind of an explanation in my video review, so please click on that if you want to find out more and my thoughts on it. But I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars overall, and I really enjoyed it. So that is everything I read this week. Please let me know what you guys are reading, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again next week. Bye!